Since 2009, the University of South Florida Athletic Hall of Fame has been honoring many of the great athletes that ever played for the green and gold. So far, the Hall of Fame has selected two quarterbacks to join the acclaimed club of athletics, Marquell Blackwell and Quinton Flowers. Ever since the XFL 2020 season, I've gained appreciation to Flowers' talent. But I would be lying if I said I didn't really know much about Flowers' story before he got to that point. What I would find out would be a story of loss, depression, and eventually, clarity. I'm Pure Sports Productions, and this is the story of Quinton Flowers. Quinton Leonard Flowers was born on December 2nd, 1994. In his childhood, Quinton would live in the suburbs of Liberty City, Miami, with his father, his mother, and his siblings. The town would be known for its crime-infested land.
You know, at any time of the day, you could get killed around here.
Here would be the first of Flowers' struggles. One warm day in Liberty City, Quinton and his dad Nathaniel were watching the Dolphins on TV. Quinton would leave to use the bathroom, where from there he heard a bang from outside. He would look out from the bathroom window and see his dad on the ground. Nathaniel would be killed by a fatal shot in the neck from a drive-by shooting. With this devastating event now inhabiting Quinton, he would convey these feelings on the gridiron. With his mom working at the local elementary school, Flowers would play football with the Liberty City Optimist Club, a non-profit organization with the goal to develop the youth for the better. This club would be connected to NFL players such as Levante David, Devonta Freeman, and Duke Johnson. He would continue to play football up to high school, where he played for Miami-Jackson Senior High School. From there, Quinton would exceed on the field, but with another blow in the Flowers family. During his junior season, it was told that his mother Nancy was diagnosed with cancer, and during a football game on January 2012, Quinton would spot posts on social media that his mother had died. He would rush to the hospital to see his mother still alive. From there, Quinton would spend the last moments with her until she passed away the next day. He was broken. Quinton was always close with his mother, especially since the passing of his father, and now both parents are at rest. Quinton was ready to quit football and high school altogether until his football coach, Antonia De La Brown, came to him and helped Flowers to find strength and guidance.
During a critical time like that, Miss Nancy, she rose up and she told me, Coach De La, please make sure my baby all right.
Quinton would go on to finish his high school with the football team, passing for 6,042 yards, rushing for 2,002 yards with 32 touchdowns. He would be rated as a 3-star recruit. Many colleges wanted Flowers after high school, but some wanted him to switch from quarterback to wide receiver. Quinton would refuse to switch, referring that him as a quarterback was the last position his mother saw him play. Regardless, Quinton would receive offers from Nebraska, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Marshall. Ultimately, Quinton would commit twice with the South Florida Bulls in 2013. Flowers didn't see the field that much, being behind a rising star in Mike White. But before the Bulls match against SMU, head coach Willie Taggart announced that Quinton would be starting quarterback for the game. This would be an exciting moment for Quinton that would turn to a moment of dejection. After hearing the news, Quinton would immediately call his brother Nathaniel Jr. to tell his family the good news, but when he picked up the phone, would be told terrible news. Quinton's half-brother Bradley Holt was shot and killed just the Thursday before after an altercation with a motorist being careless near children. Instead of shutting down like with his mother, Quinton would go on and play the game against the Mustangs.
Hey, man, listen up, man. Hey, don't worry about that right now. Don't worry about that right now. Play for each other. Yeah. Play for each other. Yeah. Yeah. We brothers out here. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's the only thing we got out here. Hell yeah. Play for each other. Yeah, that's the next family member. That's your brother. Let's get it. That's your brother. Play for him. Let's get it. Play for him. Yeah. Let's play for you. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Despite Mike White coming in the second half, the Bulls would end up beating SMU Mustangs 14-13. With the saddened circumstances that came before the game, Quinton would go on to say, "I'm blessed, just a blessing, to come out here every day and work with these guys and compete. Coach T gave me an opportunity. Steve came out, Steve worked every day, I worked every day, and I left it up to the coaches." This performance would leave a mark off the team, with Coach Taggart stating, "I don't think there's anything that he can go through in football that's going to get him down." In 2015, Flowers would be named the starting quarterback for the Bulls. For this season, Quinton would post one of the top seasons ever by a USF quarterback, while leading the team to a school record 5,741 yards of total offense, setting records within the school. One of the highlights would be his performance against SMU, the team he beat the season before. Flowers would lead his team to demolish SMU to a 38-14 win, passing for 97 yards and 201 rushing yards for 3 touchdowns. He would be deemed team MVP after taking the team 8-5, just to win behind their division champions, Temple. Quinn and the team would participate in the now defunct Miami Beach Bowl against Western Kentucky. They would lose 35-45. Quinton Flowers' 2016 junior season would be one of the best in USF history. Flowers and the Bulls would go 11-2, being division co-champions along with Temple, after their only conference loss was to them. They would also participate in the Birmingham Bowl against South Carolina and pull the overtime win 46-39. Of course, the big reason the team was successful was because of Flowers' success. Quinn that season would rush for 1,530 yards and 18 touchdowns, as well as passing 2,812 yards with 24 touchdowns. Flowers would be honored first team All-AAC, AAC Offensive Player of the Year, and College Football Performance Award for National Performer of the Year. Though it was a huge football success for Quinton, he would hide that he was suffering. It seemed that all the trauma, all the pain that Quinton was carrying within, was taken over.
I say I'm this strong again because my first child was born my junior year. And that was the same year I was thinking about taking my life. Now I have another child, and it don't make me do nothing but want great out of myself and what's great for them. Again, I would like to thank God for still having me here, because that year I had my child, that could have been a year I went missing, and none of you guys would have known me.
Sometime during 2016, Quinn would contemplate suicide, but with the birth of his daughter Maya Flowers, kept Quinton going. Quinn's sister Shanae would say, when he sees her, it's like a sense of relief. My mom, his daddy, his brother, now he has someone to rely on him, depending on him, not only in football, but in life, to support her, to be behind her. There would be a shift within the Bulls in 2017 as Taggart would leave the team for the head coach job in Oregon and hired recently fired from Texas, Charles Strong. But even with the change, Flowers and the Bulls went 10-2 for the season behind the undefeated UCF. And when it seemed things were clear enough for Quinton, tragedy struck again with the passing of his aunt Julie suffering from a heart attack. After his mother passed, his aunt took him in and became his mother figure. And now she rests with the rest of the family. Another blow that a fragile Quinton Flowers could possibly not take. But instead of shutting down, he got stronger. Flowers would go on to play against Stony Brook, where he threw 186 yards and 2 touchdowns and led the Bulls with 24 points in the second half to beat the Seawolves 31-17. Though it's not as strong as the season before, Flowers put up solid numbers. Quinn would go 1,078 rushing yards with 11 touchdowns, along with 2,911 passing yards and 25 touchdowns. He would be honored second team All-ACC and ESPN All-Bowl team. Quinton shooting for the NFL as quarterback was not looked well amongst the general managers. Being 5'10 was practically impossible for a quarterback in the leagues. As well as another thing that would be considered in Flowers is wrapped up by Lance Zellerin. Flowers simply doesn't show the consistency or accuracy needed as a passer to play in that position in the NFL. So Flowers would be seen as a running back in most eyes. Flowers would participate in the NFL Combine doing quarterback, wide receiver, and running back drills. In most projections had Flowers within the 6th or 7th round, but unfortunately, he would go undrafted in 2018. A few weeks after the draft, Quinn would sign with the Bengals as a running back. Cincinnati already had Joe Mixon and Giovanni Bernard, along with drafting Mark Walton in the 4th round. Flowers would be behind them, as well as Brian Hill, rookie Jarvon Williams, and the late signing of Trey Carson. For the preseason, Quinn would have a total of 16 carries for 41 yards, being placed in games mostly in the 4th quarter. Flowers would make the practice squad, being on it until the last game of the season when he was signed onto the active roster against the Steelers. He would not play a single snap. 2019 would be a continuation for Flowers to fight for a roster spot as the Bengals drafted Trayvon Williams and Ronnie Anderson, along with signing Jordan Ellis. In the preseason would be more of the same, only playing in the 4th quarter of games, recording 15 carries for 69 yards. He would be waived as a final roster cut. The next day he would sign with the Colts practice squad, but would be released 6 days later. This had been the last time he was on the NFL roster. Later to October, Quinn would be drafted as a running back by the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL to play in 2020, though head coach Mark Trestman would state that Flowers would play at quarterback as well. This would reunite Flowers with his college home and stadium. To start off the season, Flowers would be the third string behind allocated Aaron Murray and rookie Taylor Cornelius. Even with this, Quinn had some playing time, most notably rushing for 34 yards. Aaron Murray would suffer a foot injury and miss time, increasing Cornelius and Flowers' role significantly. Cornelius would be the starter on the depth chart, but Quinn would still play, splitting between passing and running. But before the Week 4 matchup against the DC Defenders, Flowers would leave the team for personal reasons. After the Vipers beat the Defenders 25-0, Quinn would come back to the team and request for a trade from the team. This would be why he left the team the week before and wants a more developed role for the Vipers offense. Even after the Defenders game, Cornelius would remain as the starter and Murray would be the backup, making Quinton third string once again. Flowers would not play a single snap in the next game against the Los Angeles Wildcats. The XFL would cease operations and later file for bankruptcy. In the short stint, Quinn would record 106 passing yards, 78 rushing yards, and a passing and rushing touchdown. With quarantine, Flowers wouldn't see much football until October 2020 when the Jousters of the Spring League drafted him. But as the season opener loomed, Flowers decided not to play in the Spring League. But he would play for the fan-controlled Football League in January 2021, where he would end up being franchise tagged by the Beasts. Between him and TJ Edwards II, the Beast would be unstoppable in the FCF, leading the league 3-1. Even with Edwards playing more snaps in the end, Flowers would lead the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. In the first round of the playoffs, the Beast would lose to the Glacier Boys 38-20. After the FCF season ended, Flowers would take this time off football. During that time off, Quinn would have another child in Kiyomi Flowers, and in 2022, Flowers would be inducted to the University of South Florida Athletic Hall of Fame, as he ranks first in passing touchdowns, quarterback rating, first in rushing attempts, rushing yards, and rushing touchdowns. Then in a surprising move, Quinn would sign with the Orlando Guardians of the revived XFL in 2023, after the team placed Quentin Dormady on reserve for an ongoing investigation after allegedly telling rivals his team's playbook. Quinn would join a room with former first-rounder Paxton Lynch and former FCF rival DeAndre Francois. It wouldn't be until the game after that he would step on the field for the first time after DeAndre Francois suffered a concussion. In Week 5 against the Vegas Vipers, Flowers would be on the field for one drive, rushing 2 sneaks on the goal line, the second being for a touchdown. After that game, he's only been active for one other game against the Defenders, but didn't play a single snap. The Guardians would go 1-9 and miss the playoffs. Overall, Quinn Flowers had had nothing but a difficult life, losing his parents before graduating high school, losing his brother, his aunt, cases that no mortal man could take. Quinn himself almost couldn't take it. But there was always one thing within his life that kept him here: football. Football was Quinn's salvation, got him through all the obstacles, and once he became a father, gave him only more strength to carry on. Flowers' story is an inspiration to keep going even when all isn't gone right. You must stay strong. After the XFL, Flowers could be done with football, and honestly, that wouldn't have mattered. The man played for everything, and no one could take that back from him.
Take us move on home.